people believe what they want to believe in, but at the end of the day, money is always moving, money is always flowing. Even right now, there's $18 trillion that is cycling through the system as we speak. Whether you think the market is up or down, right now is always the right time to move.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm Kristen, and I'm here with Jay Dhahan, the founder of NextGen Wealthy. So thank you for being here, Jay.
Thank you for having me.
You help people access capital.
Yes, absolutely. Especially in this world that we live in, capital is definitely needed when it comes to real estate. So we definitely supply capital on all aspects.
Yes, you are very needed right now. Awesome. So let's go back to the beginning. What got you interested in real estate in the first place?
Yeah, if we want to take it a little bit further back, when I was a kid, Lego was my favorite toy. And I loved Lego because you'd see this amazing picture on the front, and then you'd get all these little pieces, and then you'd put it together, and at the end it would be something. And I think that led me into my career of development specifically. And I'm actually originally from Canada. So born and raised in Canada, I got in at a very young age, started, self-developing myself towards understanding the game of real estate, and was able to take a small, sizable portfolio that my dad had done, which was just in basic residential properties, buying a small little house, tearing it down and building it into a duplex. I took that vision to the next level and started to build commercial retail. So over the last decade, I've been focusing on investing and building commercial retail strip malls. That's now led me out here to the States to see how I can 10x that portfolio.
And what draws you to commercial?
Commercial is just, it goes back to that classic thing that I've always shared with people, which is, look, if you're going to own real estate, you can own residential or you can own commercial. Now, residential wise, I could own a couple of houses, some investment properties, but then I may have a tenant that gets angry at his wife and punches a hole in the wall that I'll have to deal with. Whereas on the commercial side, my tenants are full-fledged businesses. They're already spending a couple $100,000 to fit out their bays. They're, on a 5-10 year lease terms. So there's a lot more stability in commercial real estate, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I've heard people talk about how the market is stronger right now for commercial. It's more promising.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at businesses, you look at corporations, you look at the lease terms, one thing that's really popular right now is data centers, because, the way that the way that the world works now is data driven. So having commercial is, I think, more predominantly in favor at the moment, just because of the wave of technology as well.
Right. And so you're in the Canadian market and now you're coming over to the US. What are the differences that you're seeing?
Well, first of all, I love y'all Americans because you're just 10x everything. 10x the energy, 10x the money supply, and 10x the population, literally. But coming out here about 4 years ago, I came to visit. I just, it was during COVID, and there's a lot of ups and downs going on with my businesses up north. And I just came out here to visit for about 6 months. And once I got here, I was in Tampa for a little bit, and I was in Miami. I was kind of going back and forth, and I was like, Florida is just a whole new type of market. It's just untapped potential. Yes, the pricing is extremely high, but there's so much potential because there's so much money flow, and people are willing to invest. They have the courage to invest, where sometimes my fellow Canadians are a little bit hesitant to get into those multi-million-dollar deals.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
So it was quite nice to come out here and see an energy and a vibe of people that are going, oh yeah, you need 10 million? Do you need 20 million? Do you need 30 million? And it kind of opened my horizon to the possibilities that were actually there.
Yeah. And then what led you to founding NextGen? What hole in the market did you see?
Yeah, with NextGen, it was really the origin of NextGen was to help people, learn communication so that they could understand neuroperformance, which is the brain and the habits that we take in order to find success in life. Now that evolved over the years and ended up, really understanding now more so on just the communication aspect, but how to truly raise capital. How to get into the market as people are looking for capital for their real estate projects, you're able to actually learn the lingo, the jargon, and actually go out there. So I really started with a coaching platform, more of an education platform. And now over the years of being in the States, it's really allowed me to position myself with a partner company, Bender Carey Capital, that allows us to now supply capital directly to those investors in the range of 50 million all the way up to $1 billion when it comes to the commercial real estate sector.
Wow. So you're really just helping people have the tools to go out and fundraise for themselves.
Absolutely. I really feel communication is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Part of my background is in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, really understanding the body language and the communication that it takes to not only have a good conversation, but to truly build rapport with somebody and then eventually be able to, get the deal closed, raise the capital that you're looking for your next project.
So what are some common mistakes you see from maybe first-time fundraisers?
I think a lot of it comes down to just, really kind of getting a bit overwhelmed. I see a lot of overwhelm. It's like, I don't think I can do it. I don't know how to do it. How do I raise $10 million? But if you just really go back to the simplicity of it, raising over $1 million is quite easier than raising under $1 million. And I know that sounds a little crazy, but it's true, because when you're dealing with somebody that's investing over $1 million, you're dealing with more of a sophisticated investor that's really primarily looking for 3 simple things: a return on the investment, an exit strategy, and knowing exactly the security of their money. Right? If you're able to answer those 3 things for the person, the sophisticated investor, it's quite easy to get that money. Whereas if you're dealing with somebody with $250,000, $250,000 to $500,000, usually they're an investor in a position that has saved enough money and is going to kind of watch that like a nest egg, really watch and see where their money goes. So I highly recommend to people to kind of get out of that overwhelmed, stuck state and just say, look, shoot for the stars. We might just land on the moon.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, because I think people do get really hung up, especially in the current market. I hear people be like, it's just a bad year to fundraise. What would you say to people who kind of limit themselves in terms of timing with the year, or just timing in general, where I hear people say, like, don't fundraise in the summer, don't fundraise during the holidays? Like, what would be your perspective on that?
I think it's all just misbeliefs, right? Like, people believe what they want to believe in, but at the end of the day, money is always moving. Money is always flowing. In high markets and low markets, there's always money moving. Even right now, there's $18 trillion that is cycling through the system as we speak over the next 24 to 36 months. Right now would be the ideal timing. Whether you think the market is up or down, right now is always the right time to move.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do people access these investors?
Yeah, so networking, I spent a lot of my time going to a lot of networking events, hiring coaches, spending a lot of money into personal development. And what that really taught me was you got to get into the right places. I would always attend these conferences and I would go to these very high-end luxury style event venues. And what was so interesting about being at the event venue is, yes, I would be there to learn and to sit front row with the guys and take notes from legends like Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, and all these amazing people. But then I started realizing, well, if I'm at this resort,
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
And people are spending $1,000 a night to stay here. Maybe I switch from the crowd of the ones inside the conference room and I go sit with some of the guys that are sitting at the bar or at the golf course and have a conversation with them. And that kind of quickly led me to understanding, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So getting around the right people, asking the right questions, and being able to really gain the contact and follow up with them is so vitally important.
Yeah. And what are some things you teach people in terms of, like, you were talking about body language and tonality and all of that?
Yeah, that gets me a little excited for sure, because that is so important. I think, even in this conversation right now, 55% of what we are communicating is through body language. It's the actions, it's the eyes, it's everything that you can physically see. 38% now is the nonverbals. It's the tonality, the pitch, the volume, the way that I can actually put character to my voice. And only 7% is just the words. So most of the time we get very scared, and it goes back to that, fear on the list of fears. Death is number 2. Public speaking is number 1. So people would rather die than to public speak. And it's crazy because 7% is only the words. And we're so scared of saying the wrong thing versus actually creating energy. So when I sit down with people, I use key things like a situational factor, which is a key tactic that you can use. Instead of saying, hey, how are you? How's your day going? How's the weather looking? You point at something on the screen, a football player doing a touchdown. Oh, that was a good play. And you create conversation out of energy versus just the actual, voice that's coming out.
Oh, I love that. That's really good advice. And I've heard that, like, showing your palms is really friendly on Zoom, like stuff like that.
Open palm versus closed palm.
Yeah. Yeah. No, all of that stuff makes a huge difference. I agree. And it is so interesting that it's such a big fear when, the words are such a small element to it. And what kind of people are you helping at NextGen? Are they usually like first-time fundraisers? Are there people who are trying to level up their fundraising? What do you get?
So typically with the partnership with Bender Carey Capital, we focus on deals that are usually 50 million plus. So we're looking at sophisticated investors that are currently either in a process of refinancing a multifamily building, a warehouse, even a commercial retail strip mall, depending on the size frame. However, that being said, one of the things that we just newly introduced inside of Bender Carey Capital is a vertical that allows under $3 million deals. So whether you're an investor or a homeowner that wants to do a fix and flip or single family rental, any of those things, we now actually have a division specifically associated with those entry level, kind of getting into the works of the fix and flips on that $1 million scale.
Wow. Yeah. Talk more about the partnership with the equity company.
Yeah, absolutely. So I run the vice president of Florida origination. So really just deal flow and helping them establish more territory share. They've been around for many years, plus 20 plus years, with over 100 years of combined experience. So we got a lot of good people on the team, and now we're just really looking to get wider and wider. We're about 44 states strong right now that we're funding in, and we want to just expand more to North America as well as overseas.
That's amazing. And you guys are deploying a lot of capital.
Absolutely. There's a lot of capital available. So why not deploy it to the right people that are looking for it?
Yeah. I mean, I love that mindset. I love that abundance mindset that there's always money flowing, and to not, because I think a lot of people, especially in fundraising, they answer their own question. They say no to themselves before they even go out there and try.
Yeah, absolutely. And like even my company, NextGen Wealthy, right? A lot of people ask me, Jay, like what does wealth mean to you? And it's interesting because most people will associate wealth with money, which I do agree. Money is a tool, and if not the sharpest tool in your toolbox. However, wealth to me is really more about that abundance. It's more about the freedom, the choice, availability, as well as wealth being, allocated towards having the money to do so.
Absolutely. And talk more about kind of, I know you guys are really into like modern investing and you're very educated on crypto and tokenization. Can you just talk about traditional investing versus the modern investing?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah, one thing I love about real estate is that if we take real estate 100 years ago, it was the same way it is now, right? There's a piece of land, there's a contract in place, and then there's ownership, whether exchanges, so it's been very traditional for over a century now, if not more. And what's interesting now, though, is that with currency changing and digital currency being introduced into the world, and of course we can talk about things like Bitcoin, but just the actual modernization of digital currency, it's quite interesting to see how tokenization is working on tangible assets now. Now, this is something, 5 years ago wasn't possible, but now it is. So looking into the influx of how much capital has gone into the digital currency world, and then being able to leverage that now to purchase buildings, to change up ownership, and alongside that, looking into the massive changeover of hands, which means like the baby boomers retiring and the next generation now being able to kind of come in. It's going to be very interesting to see the thought pattern, as the millennial generation is a little bit more instant gratification and want money now. However, the boomers were like, let's buy this asset and keep it for 60, 70 years. Right. So I feel we're going to see a lot more turnover with a lot of properties. And this is a great, amazing buying time for those investors that want to get into the right properties at the right time and hold those properties long enough to get the right appreciation from them.
Yeah, I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about the current market and just the opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the American market, Florida specifically. We do a lot of deals in Texas as well, too. So Texas and Florida have just been really, not only bullish on the level of just the government and the leadership within the states, but overall, like the land itself. They're focusing a lot on the infrastructure and continuously building the resources around. Where I see a lot of mistakes, especially up in Canada, is that they're not necessarily taking the time to build the right infrastructure. Just putting a high rise in the middle of a town doesn't make it favorable if the roads around it can't handle it. So really spending the time and effort into the infrastructure, the roads, the other necessities around the actual developments is such a key that I'm seeing, especially in markets like Austin, Texas, as well as Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, and it really is. I mean, there's always a pocket of a good market, even if, it's doom and gloom all the time. There's certain assets and certain markets that really are, still thriving. So yeah, I hear a lot of doom and gloom all the time, and I like hearing some more positivity about it.
Yeah, and like the doom and gloom it makes sense though, because it's a lot easier to be negative than it is positive.
Of course.
It takes effort and time to be positive. But again, we can always blame external resources. We can always say, I don't have enough money, or the markets are down at the moment. But if we do truly look inward and actually create that abundance mindset that you mentioned earlier, you start to see that, there is money around. It's just a matter of what effort am I willing to take each and every single day to get closer to catching it and pocketing it or deploying it in the right manner and having the right education and tools in order to do so. Because we all hate a bad investment. I've made multiple bad investments in my past of handing, a couple $100,000 to an investor and the project fell through. So getting smarter and smarter each time and learning through those mistakes has allowed me that real backbone now to know what's right and what's wrong and where to position myself correctly in this market.
Yeah, and I think that's important too, because I think a lot of people think that investing, you're just getting handed a lump sum of money and it's just easy. And it's true that a lot of people, there's mistakes, there's stuff that happens. I mean, you do have to learn from these mistakes, and you have to be aware that not every deal is going to be the biggest success in the world.
Absolutely.
And so just to kind of wrap this up, what would be some advice that you wish that you knew earlier in your career?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think just the mindset of 10xing. This is a big Grant Cardone reference as well too, as Mr. 10x himself, but just always thinking larger than what's possible. See, for so many years, I was kind of constricted into my own. We started with residential, developments. We did end up getting into strip malls, and that was still limited within my own geographical area until I came out to the States and really was able to see the 10x picture, to see, $100 million buildings and actually opening up the conversation myself. I think that's what really allowed me to say, whoa, okay, there's a market here, yes, but it's a matter of the choices that I make and the conversations that I have. That's why I've been such an advocate for learning communication. We don't necessarily, we think of that as such a broad term. Like, hey, Jay, does that mean public speaking? No, it doesn't mean public speaking. It means knowing how to articulate your language, how to take complex information and simplify it so that the average person can understand it. That's how politicians do it. That's how CEOs and leaders of top companies do it. Just learning the art of communication, especially when it comes to even the body language and the nonverbals, allows you to have such a competitive advantage over most people that don't think of that as a learning tool in their box.
Yeah, and it's so important because that's easy stuff to learn. You're not having to go off and learn like a whole new trade. You're just learning how to optimize the conversation, optimize the language you're already speaking.
Absolutely.
Well, awesome. I think people learned a lot today. So tell people where to find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys can, find me on all social medias. We're very, very live, but Instagram is my most popular one, as well as LinkedIn. And that's just my name, JayDhahan. And of course, if you need capital, you're more than welcome to go to NextGenWealthy.com.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, everybody, for listening. And we will see you back next time.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.